Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by, I hope you're good, and welcome to a vlog. Now, am I in the middle of another vlog? Yes. Do I have books on my TBR that I haven't got to yet, and is it almost the end of the month? Yes. Do I care? No. I went to the library yesterday, and all I was supposed to do was take Jensen's books back, but I just had a little look in the graphic novel section. Now, the graphic novel section at my local library is one shelf. It's at like the bottom of a bookshelf. It's one shelf, and normally it's mostly Marvel and DC things. There's the odd thing, like odd image one, but it's normally like a random volume 7 or something. I have had some good ones. The Sean Tam ones that I read, which were like what was it called, The Arrival, and then something about animals in the city. They were really good. I'll put them here. These two, they were really good, and I got them from my local library. So I just had a butcher's, and it would appear that they just had a whole stack of like new ones come in, and I found these 5 that I have never heard of. I've never heard anyone talk about them. I don't know if they're like new or what's going on, but I'm excited because they all sounded really good, and I picked them up and I was like, I'll just get like one, or actually I was thinking that I shouldn't get any. So I was thinking, oh, that one looks quite good, maybe I'll get that another time. And then I was like, nah, just get them now. So I got them all. And I'm going to read them for this vlog. And I can't really tell you what any of them are about because I basically read like the start of the synopsis, thought it looked good, had a flick, did the art look good? Yes, I'll get it. So I'm going to show you these books. I wonder if they're all like brand new releases because they all look so new. They're pretty new. That's 2022. Anyway, I'm not going to look at them all, but they look pretty new. So I'm going to show you the covers, tell you what they're called, tell you why they appeal to me, and a rough idea if I know. But I'll be honest, I don't know what these are about. So first up, we've got Zatanna, the Jewel of Gravesend. So the first thing that appealed to me was the cover. Actually, the first thing that appealed to me was that it's by Alice Arden. I think it's Alice, who wrote The Casket Girls, which is a book series that I read the first 2 books in, loved, wanted to read 3, but they stopped doing the audiobooks, and that was how I was listening to them, and the audiobooks were so good. And I don't think 3 and 4 have audiobooks, but I will double check. But the books themselves were really, really good. So this is about a girl that lives in New York, and it's something to do with magic and mobsters. I don't know. It's something about magic. It's set in New York. There might be mobsters. The artwork, very cool. And yeah, it was mostly the author that appealed to me for this one. Then we have Hollow. Cover was a big appeal, and this is also based on the Sleepy Hollow Headless Horseman myth, and I believe that the main character, Izzy, who I believe this is Izzy, and then this is Vicky Van Tassel, a teen royalty, and this is varsity level prankster Croc Ryan, possibly this guy. I don't know where I was pointing because I wasn't looking. But it's definitely like yeah, it's like a Headless Horseman retelling type thing, and the artwork, stunning. Then we have Over My Dead Body. Name, cover, also author, because it's by Sweeney Boo, the best author name ever. And this is about a girl called Abigail who goes to the Young Witty Hidden Institute of Witchcraft, and something happens to her mentor, and everyone's like, oh, the coven will sort it out, and Abigail's like, no, I'll sort it out, or something like that. It sounded very intriguing. And the artwork, again, gorge. Then we have Donuts and Doom. It was the cover and the title. Donuts and Doom, please. So this is about an amateur witch and an impossibly rude girl at the donut shop. and then one of them's like a rocker and one of them's like an amateur witch, and maybe they fall in love over donuts. I don't know, but it looks cute. And it's got like blue artwork, like Bloom. I wonder if it's by the same. Hold on. No. No. I haven't read Bloom yet. But yeah, so this looks really cute. I thought it might be by the same author because I couldn't remember the author of Bloom, but it's not. So it's just like a style, I guess. But very excited. That sounds really cute. And then I've got this one, which is called Candles. It's beautiful hardback, and was definitely kind of like the front cover for me. And the last little bit of the like blurb says Candles is an original fantasy story about magic, monsters and family. And I thought that sounded pretty cool. And then the artwork, I don't want to accidentally spoil anything for me or you, but the artwork, gorge. So I have these 5 beautiful looking graphic novels. I have never heard of any of them, never heard of anybody speak about them or anything, never seen them anywhere, and so I just thought we'd give them a go. So that's what we're going to do. Now I just need to decide which one I'm going to start with. Let's just pretend that I look somewhat decent. So it's quite a few hours later. It's actually like 12:30 or something. I am about halfway through of Zatanna, the Jewel of Gravesend. So I read it's. I think I managed to do it without spoiling myself because I'm really good like that. I did actually manage it, but I've read the first 4 chapters and it's like 8 chapters, so I'm roughly halfway. Although I think it's slightly over, if that makes sense. I'm loving this. Loving it. The artwork is so good and fits so well with the style of what it is, and it's so good because so far you're kind of following her, and she lives in Coney Island, and you know she's all about Brooklyn, and which I don't think I actually knew Coney Island was in Brooklyn. So you know, we learn something new every day. But her dad is like this big time illusionist, and she lives in this giant golden elephant that they run like as like a hotel, and he has an illusionist show, and there's like a cabaret and a casino at the bottom and stuff, and there's like she's got a boyfriend who's like part of a mob family, and it's all just like really cool. But there's just like magic-y stuff everywhere because obviously her dad's an illusionist and her mum is his assistant, and then one of her friends works in like a fortune teller store, and her mum's like a fortune teller, like a seer and stuff, and so is her friend. And then one of her other friends is like obsessed with magic and also works somewhere in that kind of area, and it's all just kind of mystical and spiritual and magical and stuff, and it's just great. It's so good, and so far I just love all the characters, and we've got like a mystery going on, and like I don't want to give anything away, but it's so good. It's so good. I am obsessed with the fact that she has a giant rabbit that she walks around on like a lead, which is hilarious. I always think, and this is probably just me, but I always think like purples and pinky colours always come across like very magical to me, and there is such like that kind of colour scheme throughout. Like there's just like tones of that everywhere. Her hair is like really purpley, and she wears like everything just like has that kind of tone to it, which is really adding to it. So far artwork is gorgeous. Really love the characters, and I'm really enjoying the story. Can't wait to see the payoff. And I think, no, I'm not going to make any predictions on the end, and obviously I won't share them with you, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So this is definitely a good one to start with so far. And also when I was saying earlier in the opening to this vlog saying like, oh, normally it's just like Marvel and DC in there. This is literally DC. Literally. I don't know how it's DC. I don't think it's based on anything, but DC Comics do it. So I don't think it's like DC superheroes like Batman and stuff. I don't think it's linked to them. I think it's just like DC Comics are printing it. So far, I would recommend this. Let's see how it ends. I was going to read it now. I stopped to watch my Chicago programs because I never watch them live because we don't have time for adverts. So I normally wait and then I can fast forward through the adverts. But now I'm a bit tired because it's 12:30 and I have to get up early. Well, not early, like 9 o'clock, but I'm very good at oversleeping and I have to get up on time because I need to like get ready for a wedding that we need to leave the house just before 12. I need to be ready for like 11:30, which sounds like plenty of time, like 2.5 hours. And in fact, if I do that, maybe I can read a little bit over like a cup of tea and my breakfast. Watch me wake up at like 11 and be freaking out. No, that's not going to happen. Don't jinx it, touch wood. That's not going to happen. So we'll see. I would quite like to finish this fairly quickly because I really want to know what happens because I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to get some sleep now because, like I say, I have to be up at 9 to make myself mildly presentable for a wedding. So when I next speak to you, I may have finished this and you may be about to see drunken shenanigans. Who knows? Hello, please don't judge me. I'm again wearing this jumper and I just filmed a vlog clip for my Goodreads vlog where I also was like, don't judge me because I'm still wearing this jumper and I think I've worn it before many times. Definitely had it on in the last clip, I'm sure. I don't care. It's really comfortable. I finished this and it was a really solid 4-star. I really enjoyed it. And do you remember when I started this vlog and I was like, oh, like normally they're like DC and Marvel, and then I was like, oh, this one is actually printed by DC. She's a DC character. Did not know that. Did not know that until I was looking at the reviews and someone was like, oh, it's really nice to get like a solo outing for one of my faves, and I was like, excuse me, do we know this person? Apparently we do. So I really enjoyed it. The artwork was absolutely fantastic. The storyline was really good. Solid 4 stars. I needed a little bit more to make it a 5 stars, but I'm not sure where I needed it, if that makes sense. Like, it just didn't quite hit that 5-star level for me. The ending was cruel. So I definitely need a volume 2, but I didn't see anything about it on Goodreads, so I hope we're going to get a volume 2. But I guess part of the reason why it didn't quite get a 5 stars is because it seemed to build up for quite some time and then the payoff was really fast. And I know it's a graphic novel and things happen really quickly, but considering how much of it was like build up and then it just seemed to just kind of happen really quick, and I wanted a bit more information, but I guess I could get that if I get a volume 2. So, do I recommend picking this up? Absolutely. The artwork's really good. The storyline was very good. I do think if you're familiar with the character, maybe you won't like it as much. That kind of seemed to be the vibe that I was getting from the Goodreads. But if you're not familiar with the Goodreads reviews, but if you're not familiar with the character, it's a really good outing. It's very witchy. There's a lot of spiritualism and like all that kind of things, very magical, and I had a really good time with it. Really good time, so I do recommend. So we need to pick our next read. So I've got the wheel. Let's spin it. Spin. Wow, that took a long time. Hollow. Hollow. Focus. Focus, damn you. Just trust me, it says hollow. Let me get it. Okay, so this is Hollow. I'm very, very excited for this one because it's like the Sleepy Hollow retelling. Again, artwork looks absolutely fab. And it's about Izzy Crane. I just realised the surname's Crane. Same as Ichabod Crane from the movie. we remember. Izzy Crane and her family have just relocated to Sleepy Hollow, the town made famous by and obsessed with the legend of the Headless Horseman, but city slicker skeptic, that's really hard to say, but city slicker skeptic Izzy has no time for superstition as she navigates life to a new school. Ghost stories aren't real after all. I'm not reading the rest, but I'm very excited for this one. This looks really, really good. So, I'll start this and I'll check in with you in a bit.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh.
Hey, so I finished this. I read it quicker than expected, but also took longer to read it than expected because I started filming like a vlog clip for it on Friday, Saturday, and then I didn't pick it back up. I read like 10 pages and then put it down and then didn't pick it up until last night, which was Monday, where I read the whole thing. So vlog clips probably non-existent, but I've read it. So let me tell you my thoughts. I settled on a 3.5. And I'm pretty shocked, I'm not gonna lie, because I thought out of all the ones that I picked, this was going to be my 5-star for sure. Because of the setting, because of the themes, I thought this was going to be my absolute favourite. The art was really good and there was some really like cute relationships in this, which I thought was definitely going to help. There's a cute little romance and the friendships are really sweet. But it didn't quite do it for my horror loving self, okay? Because yes, it was really cute. Yes, the setting was really cool. I kind of feel like the Sleepy Hollow elements of it were not wasted, but it needed more on that side. I understand it was going for cute rather than scary, but I think it needed to kind of just rein it back a little bit, like just bring a little bit more of it, of that Sleepy Hollow horror-esque element to it, if that makes sense. The 3 main characters were really adorable. Isabel Crane was great. I really liked Vicky Van Tassel and Croc, the guy. He was there. He was fun. I liked him. He was a proper himbo. Not a lot going on upstairs. And I understand why he was included, but I don't necessarily think that he was needed. Like, you could have just had these two, the shiny cover. You could have had these 2 characters on their own. But I'm not mad at his inclusion because he was quite a sweet guy and he did bring some things to the table. I think the thing that I probably have the biggest problem with is that it relies pretty heavily on you knowing the ins and outs of the Sleepy Hollow story already. It gives you bits of information, but it doesn't necessarily explain the original story. Not even just like the original book, but like the lore behind it. Now, I've seen Sleepy Hollow God knows how many times, and I've read the original book, which is a whole other thing. I didn't love that book. But I still couldn't really follow some of what was going on because it didn't refresh the story. And I understand it's like, well, no, because it's not even like a retelling, it's like building upon that, so you kind of need that initial understanding of it, and I just don't feel like it properly gave it to me. If I had come into this with absolutely no knowledge of the Sleepy Hollow myth, legend, whatever, I wouldn't have had a clue why any of this mattered, and even with my knowledge of it, I still struggled. Does that make sense? So it was a 3.5. It wasn't bad, and like I say, the art is still really beautiful and it was a good fun time. It was very cute, the characters were great, but I just needed that little bit more. So I just realised I've done this whole clip and the lighting is actually pretty crap, but we're rolling with. We're rolling with. Let me get my wheel and we'll pick our next read. Okay, so again, lighting is not great, but I think you can just about make that out. We've got 3 left, and next we will be reading. I feel like I made this spin too long. It takes too long. I can't see what that is. Candles. Candles. Okay, let me go and grab that. Okay, so here's candles. This is beautiful. The art looks really stunning. This is like the most fantasy out of all of them. Like, this is very fantasy, whereas so far what have we had? We've had kind of like urban fantasy, I guess, like magical. We've had kind of like, well, spooky, I guess. I was going to say gothic, but not so much. Spooky, kind of. And now we've got fantasy. So this is about a girl who lives in a village, and there's this plague going around called Dark Bark. And when it reaches her village, her name is Grace, when it reaches the village, she sets out to try and end the curse, and then I'm guessing she's going to come across these other two, which is Idris, a flamboyant sorcerer, and his talented apprentice Ava. They've been cast out of town, and I think they're all trying to solve this Dark Bark plague in the Enchanted Forest. It sounds really cute. I really like the art. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. This definitely is like, look, it has a map. I don't think I've ever seen a graphic novel with a map. That is so cool. This is definitely like on the higher end of fantasy, I think. So I'm excited to give this a go. So I will read this and I'll check back with you guys in a bit. Hey, you can probably hear my fan, but it's hot, and if I open the window, the flies come in. I know I said on Tuesday I was gonna read this. Well, it's now Saturday, and I haven't read anything since Tuesday. Not a book, not this, nothing. So Lisa is running some long sprints today on Saturday, and Jensen is at my mum's. Danny's asleep, so I've joined in, and I'm going to read all of this and pick my next one. So hopefully we can get this back on track, because I slipped this week reading wise. That's okay, we'll pull it back. So I'm going to read this first. I will be reading something else on Lisa sprints after, but I'll pick my next one, and then, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to go read this.
Well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire.
After what I can only assume is the shortest amount of B-roll that has ever been put into a vlog, I'm back to give you updates on this. I put my hoodie on, but I kept my fan on because I was too cold in my t-shirt. I didn't want to turn my fan off, and I just wanted to wear my Skate Infinity hoodie. Okay, it's Skate the Infinity. It's an anime that I really enjoyed, and this is the hoodie that one of the characters wears, and I could get it, so I did, and I wanted to wear it. So even though it's actually a really nice day, and the only way to wear it in this tiny box oven room is to put the fan on, that's how we're rolling today. Anyway, I have updates, don't I? Yes. So we have our first 5-star of the vlog. I loved this so much, and I had to flick through to try and find some artwork to show you without giving away too much of the story, and I don't think this gives anything away. Can you see how beautiful it is? And the story was just so good. Like, I was so invested. There was a twist that I just did not see coming, and it was so well crafted. The art was brilliant, the story was amazing. I really enjoyed the characters, and even though you don't get a lot of time with them, I felt like I fully understood the motivation behind what they were doing and who the characters were. So these are our kind of like 3 main characters. We've got Ava, Idris, and Grace, and they were all just really interesting and well crafted characters. The storyline was so good, so good. So basically we're following these guys, and there is this blight on the land called Dark Bark, and it is spreading. It's like an infection, and they're trying to find like the cause of it and stop it. And there's a lot more to it, which I can't tell you, but there's magic. and it's just really, really well done, really good, and I highly recommend it. So even there's so much I want to say, but I don't want to give anything away. Okay, so I'll just talk like briefly on some things that aren't spoilery. So the relationship between Idris and Ava was so sweet because Ava had like magic, and magic is not allowed in this world, or it's like, it's not that it's not allowed, it's like, well, it kind of is, like they're persecuted if they're magic basically, and she's young and she doesn't have full control over it, and so accidents happen and they're kind of chased out of town, and Idris is not her father, but I'm assuming she's been rejected by her parents, and he's taken it in and is trying to like raise her and look after her, and it's really sweet because they care about each other so much, and out of everybody that they come across, obviously they understand each other the best because they're both magic users in a town that doesn't allow magic. And then you've also got Grace, who comes from a village that has been really affected by this dark plague, and they've been trying to find a way to not just stop the spread, but save the things and the people, the creatures and the people, not just to stop the plague from spreading, but also to kind of cure the people and creatures and everything that has been affected by it. And yeah, it's really quite sad, the village, because everybody has suffered because of it in a way, and Grace is just trying to figure out a way to save her family and her people. And yeah, I don't know what else to say that isn't going to be a spoiler, but it is so good. So good. I'm so glad I picked this one up. And to think, actually, when I was like going through them, this was the one I was like thinking that I would like the least, and so far I like it the best. I did try and see whether Lyndon White, the kind of author and illustrator, had done anything else, and he has, but some of it is like illustrated for other people, I think, so I'm not sure. So I'm gonna have a look and see if I can find anything else by him, because it was so good. So I need to pick my next read, and we are down to our final two, so this is going to be the last wheel spin, because why would I spin it when there's only one on it? Ovs. So here is the wheel, and let's spin it and see what our penultimate book is going to be. I just forgot to shorten the spin. Okay, it's Donuts and Doom, which is right here. Donuts and Doom. This looks super cute. I'm still a little confused of why like the cover is so pink and all the art is blue, but I don't hate that. I quite like the art. So this is about an amateur witch and a rock star that maybe fall in love in a donut shop. Sweet and sapphic in every way. This looks cute. So we've got our kind of like amateur witch and our rocker, and yeah, they're going to fall in love, I guess. So I'm not going to start this right now because I want to read an actual book on sprints. It'd be so good if I could finish like an entire book because my TBR has been neglected. But I might pick this up after sprints, so you might see me later today. Hello. Please ignore the bad lighting, the bad fan noise. This is really hot. And let me tell you about my first impressions of this. I say first, this is a super quick read. So I'm on page 84 of 133 already. It has been quite some time since I last spoke to you, but I've read some. So, thoughts. Very fast, super cute so far. The two main characters, Margot and Eleanor. I'm literally reading it. How could I have forgotten her name already? Eleanor? Yes, Eleanor. I did know it. They're very cute. They've had like this meet where it wasn't even like a meet cute really, because they were arguing. But yeah, things have happened and they're like bonding, and it's very sweet. There is one thing that keeps kind of like drawing me out of the story, and I looked to see whether this was translated, and I don't think it was translated. However, the author is originally from Hungary, so now lives in Scotland, but I think that you can tell that English is not his first language. It's not like really noticeable, don't get me wrong, like it's very, very well done. The artwork is beautiful, and mostly the dialogue is great. But because it's all dialogue, I'm noticing a couple of weird things. Like every so often, he'll drop a word which works, but is a little jarring because I'm not sure you would say it that way. But then other times when you would normally like truncate the word, is that the word I'm looking for? You know, like where you wouldn't say I will, you'll say I'll, or she would, you'd just say she. Like just if you was having a normal conversation with people that you know. And I'm just noticing that that is happening quite a lot, where it's like I will pick that up later, or she would not mind, or she would just pick it up, or it's just weird things like that. And although there's nothing wrong with that, that is perfect English. It just doesn't flow because you're reading dialogue. The thing with like graphic novels, or at least with this graphic novel, is that the only writing really in this is dialogue. It's all speech. So when it doesn't feel like a natural way to speak, it kind of like is jumping out the page at me. Does that make sense? But the story is super cute, and honestly the artwork is so lovely. I wasn't sure about it when I started, but actually I'm really liking that kind of like blue. And then occasionally there's like a little bit of pink, which is to do with Margot's magic. And also, when I read Amateur Witch, I thought it was just going to be like a Wiccan type situation. But no, she's like a full witch. She has like a broomstick and a familiar, and she makes potions, and she attempts to cast spells. But yeah, I think this is a really cute one. I'm going to finish it now because it is kind of like a one sitting book, really. I just paused because I wanted to talk about the dialogue thing. And then I'm going to see how it ends, and then I'll update you. And then we have one more to go, and we read them all. I just lost the bookmark, so I'm glad that I just put my finger on the page that I'm at, because I just threw the bookmark on the floor. Let me finish this. And done. All done. I'm going to give it a 4. 4? Yeah, I think a 4. It was cute. The dialogue thing kind of wasn't as noticeable in the second half. The artwork was really good. I enjoyed the storyline. It was very much about like finding your voice and finding like self-confidence, which I really enjoyed. I felt like it maybe ended a little abruptly. Like I could have used an extra couple of pages, because we had some nice kind of like build up between these two, and then it kind of like just ended. So yeah, I could have used like a little bit more. I feel like I wanted more of a resolution on one part of the story. I get what it's doing with the end, but I kind of wanted like a little bit more from it. But I will say my absolute favourite thing about this is Stanley, the snake familiar, because in this she kind of explains that familiars, part of being a familiar is they become like more intelligent than an average member of their species. So like dogs, cats and birds and that can probably like read or talk, but snakes just become like golden retrievers. And it was very much like this snake was like had very much golden retriever energy. I mean, yeah, I thought it was really good. It just wasn't perfect for me, but I do recommend it. So it was a good read. So we're now on to our final book. Let me go and get it. Obviously no need for a wheel spin. Our last one is Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. Best name ever. So this is about a witch who's, oh look, this is about a witch who is at a school for witchcraft, and their mentor, yes, their mentor goes missing. So yeah, I'm gonna read this, and then it's all done. I don't think I'm going to read it now though, because it's Friday night, which means it's time for Chicago, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and it's already like past 10, so I can now watch them and fast forward through the adverts. I'm going to do that, but then I might try and read this tomorrow, so I can wrap this vlog up. We can do some rankings, talk about our favourite bits, and then I can share it with you, which is, I guess, the point to share my thoughts with you. Anyway, last book. I'm really hoping for a 5-star finish because I was so excited for all of these. And although we've had like some 4s, we've only had the 1 5, and it would be nice to end like on a high. None of them have been bad, but only one has really like blown me away, and I would just like another solid win. Hello, it is Sunday and I am back with one final update and then to wrap up this vlog. It's Father's Day here today in the UK, so me and Jensen went to spend the afternoon with my dad. So it's like we went to my mum and dad's house, and then my sister and brother-in-law were there, and we went round to the pub for a bit. And while we were sitting in the garden, dressed for the heat, because oh my god, is it hot, a storm rolled in and we had to run inside. So my hair is not as straight as it should be, but I'm too hot to restraighten it for this vlog clip, so we're just rolling with. So I have read Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. I'm just trying to decide what I'm rating it. Unfortunately, it is not a 5-star end like I was hoping. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. I was fluctuating between a 3.5 and a 4, but I think it's a 3.5. So the art style, first of all, gorgeous, but the structure was a bit off. Like the structure changed from page to page. Like it didn't necessarily flow. The panels. So sometimes the panels went like this, and sometimes they went like this, and so I kept reading things out of order. And I think I was supposed to follow. How can I do this without? Well, maybe not. I think I was supposed to follow the white edges, but then can you see here how like technically those are both white edges, so we went with this one because it was the top one obviously, but it's just all a bit like there's overlaps, and then you're supposed to follow the white edges I think, but then it's just all a bit, and I just kept reading it out of order, which was frustrating me. The storyline itself was mostly good. Mostly good. I enjoyed the part where we were looking for, and it was not mentor. She wasn't looking for her mentor, she was looking for her mentee. She was the mentor. So we're looking for this kind of young witch that has gone missing. And it says on the back that she kind of uncovers more secrets. And it's almost like, and I don't think this would count as a spoiler, a secondary mystery. But the motivation was not, like, it was stupid. Oh, that's mean. It wasn't realistic, the motivation. I really can't explain it without spoilers, so here's some spoilers, vague spoilers. So if you don't want any vague spoilers, wait until this is gone. But basically, there's like a secondary mystery from a long time ago where this witch went missing, and her friends did something to her to stop her from leaving, because she wanted to leave to find her real family, because she was an orphan, or a foundling, that's what they call it. So she wanted to try and find out what happened to her parents, or who her parents were, and so they did something that meant that she didn't get to go and find her parents, but she also wasn't with them, so it was all just kind of pointless. Like, I'm not really sure what was the purpose of doing that. It didn't make sense, and then because that bit didn't make sense, the motivation for the whole main plot was kind of lost. So I don't think that was too spoilery, but still, just in case. So because of like the issues that I had with the plot, I can't realistically give it a 4-star, but it's such a shame because the art is really good, and most of the story I really enjoyed, and there was some great representation in here. There was some sapphic representation and there was non-binary representation, which was brilliant to see, and I didn't know that going in, so that was cool. But yeah, just, I don't know, some of those formatting, not being able to follow it very well, and just this kind of like the motivation issue, just I can't give it over a 3.5. So it's a mixed bag, but it's not terrible. Like, everything got 3.5 and above, which I think is still pretty good. So let me give you some rankings. In at number 5 is Hollow. This was the Sleepy Hollow retelling. I gave it a 3.5. The positives were that the art style was really cute, there was some great representation, and I really enjoyed kind of like the characters. The bad points were that it relied too much on you knowing the original Sleepy Hollow story really well, and it just felt a bit too campy for what I wanted from a Sleepy Hollow retelling, if that makes sense. Like, it was all just a bit, not cheesy, but kind of a bit too, I just needed a bit more darkness. Shock, I wanted more darkness in a book, but yeah, just from being like a Sleepy Hollow retelling, that's more what I expected. But it was just a bit more light-hearted than what I thought it was going to be. Coming in at number 4 is Over My Dead Body. As I said, motivation for some of the plot was a bit of an issue for me, and the kind of paneling positioning and just not making it very clear on how to read it, so just not being able to follow the story sometimes. The art style is a big plus. I thought it was really, really good, and again, really enjoyed the characters and the representation, but just couldn't get over that kind of, I don't know. Also, something I didn't say is there is a really, really heavy resemblance to another wizarding world that we know, and to draw the similarities would give some of it away, I think, but there was some strong similarities in places, and yeah, I don't know, I just kept thinking that while I was reading it. Not necessarily a bad thing, but given the actions of said author, was a little off-putting, put it that way. Coming in at number 3, we have Donuts and Doom. Did I give this a 4-star? I literally read it like 2 days ago. I think it was a 4. I'll put it down here if that's wrong. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 4. I really enjoyed the pink and blue art style. I really enjoyed the characters, and the plot was very interesting. Really, really good. Very cutesy, but that's kind of what I was expecting. Great representation. Where it kind of lost points was that I felt like it was a little bit rushed towards the end. Wanted, we had quite a lot of build up, and then it all resolved very quickly. And just some of the phrasing kind of threw me, but overall really good fun, really enjoyed it, and I do recommend this one a lot. It's very, very cute, very cute sapphic love story. It's a very cute sapphic story. I just wanted a bit, I don't know, it just felt a little bit rushed at the end, that's all. And then coming in at 4th, we have Zatanna, the Jewel of Gravesend. Why have I forgotten how to pronounce that? This was another 4 stars. Did not realise it was based on a DC character, and I do think my enjoyment would be less if I knew the character purely from other reviews. But going into it with no knowledge of the characters, I had a really great time. Art style was beautiful. Lots of purple vibes in this one, which I'm a fan of. Very bright, very vibrant colours. I really enjoyed this. It has magic. It had really good representation again. In fact, I've got to say, the representation in these books so far, I mean, I didn't know this picking them all up, but all 4 of these, wow, all 4 of these had great representation. So we had some sapphic representation in this. The magic in it was really cool. The setting was really cool. Just kind of bummed about how it ended, and I don't know if we're getting a second volume, but if it is, I will read it because I really want to know what kind of happens next. But overall, this was probably one that had the best plots in it, and yeah, even knowing nothing about the character, I had a really great time, which means, I think it comes as no surprise, my favourite of this vlog is Candles. This was a 5-star. The magic in this was so good. It was so beautifully drawn. The storyline was fantastic. The characters were brilliant. I personally don't think there's a negative to this one. I genuinely can't think of a negative. Brilliant characters, brilliant plot, brilliant art, a twist that I did not see coming, and just fantastic, just so good. Maybe the only thing, no, actually, I was about to say the only thing is there's no representation, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but there was representation. It was background representation, but I'm 100% sure that there is there were sapphic characters in this. Yep. Yep. She's called her a wife. So there's representation in this. I love that. I love that. I mean, some of them, it was obvious there was going to be representation. I knew there was representation in this. And I knew there was representation in this. And I just keep saying representation. I do, of course, mean queer representation. We had sapphic in this, and I knew there was kind of like sapphic in this as well. Did not know there was going to be sapphic and non-binary in this. That was lovely to see. Didn't know there was going to be sapphic in this. And there was sapphic in this. They were all sapphic. They were all sapphic. Oh, and also there was some disability rep in this, because a kind of side character walked with crutches and then became a bigger part later on. So that's cool. Love that. But yeah, this was the win for me. Would definitely read more from this author illustrator, because I just thought that the style was so, it's such a great style. It's actually quite different to a lot of graphic novels that I've seen in a way. Like the way that he draws people is really different. But yeah, just brilliant. So I think I've done an okay job of wrapping this up. My hair is massive. We're just gonna, it's so hot. I'm so hot. So shout out to my local library for having these fantastic graphic novels there for me to try. I'm glad that I decided to pick them all up and give them a go. As I say, I think a 3.5 is a really good rating. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. And I think to get 5 graphic novels that I've never heard of, read them, and have 2 3.5s, 2 4s, and a 5 is really, really good. I do recommend all 5 of these. To be honest, I know I said that I recommend candles because obviously I do, but I would recommend all of these because ones that didn't work for me I think will really work for other people. And I'm also interested to see what other people make of them compared to what I make of them, because especially with things like Hollow, because not everybody wants to read as dark things as I do, so that might be perfect for them. And I'm interested to see if anyone's read Over My Dead Body and has the same issue that I had with it, or whether that was just like, that didn't bother them at all. So that's it for this vlog. I had a great time with it. I'm really glad that I decided to grab these and just give them a go. If you've read any of these or have any thoughts on what I've said, let me know in the comments below, or if you just want me to know you're here, that purple heart is always appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed and you'd like to see more bookish content from me, remember to hit that button, leave a like if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!